Hello, it's Haley, and today we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen Movie Zero. I decided to start with Movie Zero instead of Season 1 just because Zero comes before 1, and I don't know if the actual manga Volume Zero came out before Volume 1 or not, but it's my show and I decide where we start, so... A non-spoiler summary for those who haven't actually seen Movie Zero. This story actually has a different protagonist from the main story, named Yuta Okotsu. Yuta Okotsu promised to marry this girl in his young childhood. However, they did not make it to said marriage because she went through a tragic accident, and now her ghost or her spirit haunts him in a way where he can't be hurt, and it hurts other people who try to hurt him and won't let him hurt himself. He gets taken in by the Jujutsu Sorcerer Society and learns to basically use his powers for good, essentially. And that's about as non-spoiler as I can get, I think. So I'm going to give you the usual to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And for those who stuck around, I liked Movie Zero. However, now having watched it, let's see, this is probably my 3rd or 4th time watching the movie. Probably 3rd time. It's not like I was on the edge of my seat for anything because I already know how everything goes. So really, I was just kind of trying to observe this from a critical standpoint, and to that effect, I would say this movie was fine, but it wasn't like the most special thing in the world, and I say that, okay? My opinion may change by the time I'm caught back up with everyone, but as it stands right now in this moment, Jujutsu Kaisen has been my favorite anime for the last 3 or 4 years. Whenever season 1 part 1 finished, I caught up shortly after that, shortly before part 2 of season 1 came out, and I was hooked. I rewatched season 1 part 1 probably 2 or 3 times before part 2 came out, and then I rewatched the entire season 1 twice when both parts were out. And then I wasn't as invested in season 2 because of my circumstances at the time. But I was still enjoying it with everyone. I was watching it week to week as best I could. But I was watching the dub at the time, so I was always a little behind everyone. But I still enjoyed it, and I'm actually hoping that this will give me the opportunity to go into that with a fresh mind. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So, some things I will say on the positive side for Movie Zero is the main character is likable, which is important, obviously. Is he as likable as the main character for the main series, which is Yuji? Nah. Personal opinion, no. But he is, he's sweet, and he's caring and compassionate, and he's got a lot more timidness to him than Yuji does. This is not a positive, this is a critique, and this isn't specific to the anime, this is just kind of a generalized, storytelling plot hole here. Gojo really did just throw Yuta into a life or death situation with no combat training whatsoever. And then, after being put in a life or death situation, that's when he starts giving him some combat training. Why? And also, hot take, I think Maki is a better teacher, at least to Yuta, than Gojo. And speaking of teachers, so I didn't know there was a post-credit to this movie, so when I was watching, I I think I was finishing up my notes or something, and I happened to accidentally see the post-credit with Yuta and Miguel, and then Gojo walks up. I'd never seen that, and I thought that was nice because I know, because of the manga, that Yuta ends up going to Africa to train with Miguel. But I thought that was never shown in the anime or in the movies. And now I know that it was. It's just something you just stick around for. I thought Geto was pretty menacing this movie. Or rather, I should say he was being a menace. And I'm gonna pull up some examples here. Let me grab my notes. Okay, examples of Geto being an absolute fucking menace. He let those curses suck that man out of existence. He attacked a teenager, that being Yuta. He attacked several teenagers because Yuta, Maki, Panda's not, I don't know what Panda counts as. And then the rice ball guy. I can't remember the rice ball guy's name. Tried to recruit said teenager in front of the teachers at Jujutsu High, just right there in front of everyone. Then proceeds to declare war and just fly off. Tells them where he's going to some shop where they sell crepes, and nobody follows him, or if they do, he clearly doesn't care. And then sets up this huge elaborate distraction so that all the sorcerers are away, just so he can kill a teenager. So yeah, all that to say, Geto's a fucking menace. Geto is... He don't play no games. Also, just the monkey bombs at all times. I do like that they kind of foreshadow Gojo's flashback quite a bit in this movie. If you're watching it in the order they released it, then you wouldn't have seen Gojo's flashback yet. Some people, they don't know there's a movie and they watch season 1 and 2 and then watch the movie. And then some people like me, they're like, oh, well, 0 comes before 1, so obviously I should watch 0 first. And to that, I do like that they still explain some things to make sure that you understand what's going on like a base level. If you haven't already seen the first season. Which does mean that if you have already seen it, then there's a lot of information you already know just being given to you, spoon-fed to you, if you will. But I would also argue that anime in general tends to do that a lot, where rather than showing you things or just letting you figure things out on your own, it'll tend to explain it to you oh my gosh, they're going so fast, as if we can't already see that. And somebody did point out, or I did see somebody point out on the internet one time, that the reason they do that is because they're just adapting the manga a little too faithfully, where in the manga they have to explain that somebody's going fast because you can't see it, so they have to kind of have a character explicitly say that, because you can't really draw somebody moving fast per se, because it's more of a perception thing. But I thought that'd be a cool piece of information that I could share with the world, since it was shared with me. But as far as positives go, I mean, the artwork is good. They do kind of start you off on these really dark tones. Not that the whole movie has got a dark tone to it, but there's definitely some dark... there's a dark underbelly with a really bright coat of paint. Rika was really freaking cool. Just as a concept and her artwork or art design. Now granted, it is a little funky to look at. There are probably cooler ways that they could have, cooler designs that they could have come up with, but I'm not gonna complain about it too much because it still looked good, and especially in the beginning parts of the movie, she's really menacing. The ending was okay. Obviously I like to see Rika get, freed from her curse, and I think it's strange that Yuta gets to keep Rika, though, the monster version of her. And it's not clear to me, because I thought that Rika's spirit passed on, but then her curse still follows Yuta, and he kind of gets to use her. I don't know if it's freely. I don't remember the exact rules for her, but like, I don't know. It's just kind of. I feel like it would have made more like narrative and thematic sense to like not keep her, and he have to find like new ways to become strong, because he's already got a pretty strong ability. So, but that's not really shown in the movie right now, as far as you know. It's just that his power is Rika, and he eventually learns how to use a sword. Obviously, you have the characters that were already introduced in Season 1, and I think I'd like to talk about them more in Season 1 rather than here. But if this was your introduction to these characters, it is nice, because you get to kind of know them without the context of Yuji and Megumi and Nobara. So, like, without that rivalry, just them kind of being, like, first years themselves. In a sense, they kind of are your Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara to start with. If you start on Movie Zero, just, you know, there's one extra body, I guess. Toge! I'm just now remembering that the other one's name is Toge.
Bruh.
Sorry, but... And I did like the cameos that you get from both current and future characters. So I like that there's characters that like aren't in the series, like in the anime yet, that make an appearance here. And then obviously if you start, like I said, if you start on Zero, then they're all new, so it's just kind of like a quick like, oh yeah, these guys will come up later eventually, some earlier than others. But other than that, I mean, they're kind of just there to look cool. Miguel was interesting because he doesn't come up in the anime, well, like the main show at all, to my memory. Obviously he will eventually, but for the sake of like the anime, like he only shows up, at least where we're at in the anime, he hasn't shown up yet. So he's just kind of like this weird movie side character that never comes up again, but you know that he's training Yuta, I guess. And at the time of recording this, Season 3 has not come out yet, so I won't speak on that too much. But yeah, so overall, my thoughts on not Season 1. Overall, my thoughts on Movie Zero is it's just fun. Like, it's a lot of fun if you're watching it for the first time. I'm not sure if it's better to watch Season 1 first or the movie first, but you're not missing anything either way. So it's entirely up to you if you'd rather watch the movie first. It is a bit more of a pain to find it depending on where you watch it, especially because I noticed when I went to go watch it, like Crunchyroll kind of changed their layout a little bit from when I was last there. So that was really annoying, but I mean, and you really don't even have to watch Movie Zero. So it is entirely just a fun little binge, like a little addition to your, if you're really enjoying Jujutsu Kaisen, just go ahead and watch it. But yeah, overall, like, it's nothing critically amazing. The artwork is good, the music is good, the acting is, you know, it varies depending on if you're watching the sub or the dub, but I'm just gonna use, since I watched the dub, I'll comment on that. The acting was, you know, on par with the usual. So, I mean, I guess, like, if I were to give it a rating out of 5 stars, I would just give it maybe a 3 or a 4. Like, it's nothing is being blown out of the water. It's just kind of more Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, if you're enjoying what you've been watching, just keep watching. And that's really all I have to say. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about with the coming seasons. Obviously, my next that I'm going to watch is going to be Season 1, and then I'll do a video on that. And that will come to you guys whenever I get around to it. And who knows, maybe I'll catch up on the channel before Season 3, or when Season 3 drops, and I can do a video on that for you guys. But in the meantime, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.